Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the first of our, shall we say, pre-recorded podcasts. So we're not live. We will be going live once or twice a month, but other than that, you're going to get hammered with lots and lots of podcasts that we're going to do and put up through the website and through our YouTube channel, and linked through to our Facebook and Twitter, Twitter X. Get it right. So what we're going to be discussing tonight is the FA Cup, and slightly going to be discussing. Let me just bring Nigel on. Hello, Nigel. Oh, can't hear you, mate.
I know. There you
Oh, there
go.
we are. We're on. We're on. We're not live.
Do you know what? I fucking forgot. I forgot you
It's
was.
all right.
I forgot we was on
I'm
a
gonna have to
Monday. That's
beat
what.
you.
That's why I'm late.
No, it's cool. It's cool. So as I'm saying, everyone, we're going to be discussing the FA Cup and the FA Vase, because it's not the only cup competition that took place this weekend or over a period of time, as with the FA Cup. Unfortunately, with the FA Vase, very few games took place because of the weather. As we all know, bitterly cold. So there isn't an awful lot. But me and Greg did attend an FA Vase game on Saturday, which was absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you a little bit about it a little bit later on. So we're going to focus on the FA Cup, which is still taking place. We've got a game tonight, which is Millwall Dagenham, or should we say Millwall West Ham? And then we've got 3 games tomorrow. Again, there was a couple of postponements which have been rearranged for tomorrow night. So we got a few talking points around the FA Cup, and there's been some, like, a few shock results, not many. Plymouth beating Brentford, definitely up there with them. But yeah, it's Tamworth. Let's start there, gentlemen. We'll talk about the wonderful performance they put in, but unfortunately, it's reared its head again, hasn't it? The replays. Tamworth as would have had a game down at Tottenham. Everyone's up in arms again about replays and the gutless FA for doing what they've done, pandering to the top 6 and so on and so forth. It's just been all over the radio again today. And on top of that, and I'm going to let you guys have the discussion. So let's talk about, again, our feeling. I know, Darren, you have a slightly different take on it. But also, I'd like us to consider what options there would be to improve the situation. I say that because the minute the whistle went for the full time, it was always on the cards that the Premier side, the professional players, not the man working in the Zara shop, but the professional players would absolutely have a different level of fitness. And I think that's another thing to consider, and there's been a few options banded around, which I'll share with you in a bit and see what you think. But let's just, where do you stand, Tom, with the situation on the replay side, and do you feel for Tamworth not getting a trip to Tottenham?
Yeah, hugely. Clubs like that, sort of, when they have a cup run, that's the whole reason that they're in the cup and want to go on that sort of run. Obviously, at the end of the day, money makes the world go round, and that type of money that we're talking about to a club of that level. I think I saw a stat that it pays something like 75% of their wage bill for the year, or something silly like that. The amount of money that they would have been awarded.
Figure, I believe, is around the 750
Yeah,
750,000. So three
yeah,
quarters
yeah.
of £1 million payout on that one
You
game
know,
if they went to Tottenham.
yeah, and you're looking at clubs that have sort of campaigned for these replays to not take place. 750 grand to them is not even a fraction of a transfer fee that they would pay for somebody. Whereas you look at a club like Tamworth, and it's sort of their very existence is based on those kind of funds. You take that away from a club at that level, and it's absolutely detrimental. So, do I feel for them? To answer the question, absolutely.
Nigel, what's your thoughts as an ex-player?
Yeah, it's more or less what Tom said, but with the situation going to extra time and penalties, I mean, I was a bit disappointed in Tottenham's performance. I thought they had to bring on the three big boys to get the game settled, but if it was going to be a case of it was going to go back to Tottenham, would they have brought in players on earlier in the game to change it? So yeah, it is a difficult one. I mean, it's so the result at full time was I was going to bring that back up again, weren't it? At the same time, there's that many games going on now, competitions. I can understand one side of the coin and the other side of the coin. But I think if it was going to go to a replay, I think Tottenham would have brought on the big boys a bit earlier on in the game because it's definitely made a difference, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I agree with you. You know, it would have been a formality, wouldn't it? You know, but the financial reward for a non-league club, it's sort of like, you know, I think before I get on to Darren, because I know Darren has a slightly different take on it, but I just sort of, my view is that I think what annoyed me more than anything was the fact that this decision was made without consultation with any other club outside the Premier League. That's why I am absolutely against it, more than the fact I can understand. I truly can understand why maybe, you know, you could see the argument. But then again, when Newcastle and Spurs last season, within 2 days of the season ending, go swanning off to various hot countries and go on tour, you then question about, well, what you're on about too many games, you know, yet you'll go swanning off and go straight on tour. You know, yeah.
Thing is, guys, what I was going to say was that who would actually vote on whether it went to replays or not? Would it be every single football club? Because
no, it never got discussed outside the Premier League.
But what I'm trying to say is, if you're going to go down all the leagues, say it goes to the conference where they get to vote whether it's a replay, they're easily going to outnumber the Premier League boys, aren't they? All the lower clubs are going to want the replay. So
that's why they wouldn't have discussed it outside. Yeah, because they know they wouldn't have got it. It would have got voted down without a doubt, I think, by many clubs. I think there's better solutions, which we'll come to in a moment, but let's get Darren's thought on it. I know you're sort of 50-50, aren't you?
Yeah. This is one of them that whatever result you want to use to suit your argument. So, for example, Tamworth in the last round, they had a giant killing axe. They beat Burton on penalties. Nobody was, because little old Tamworth went through, nobody was crying about the fact that they were denied a replay. No one seems to be bothered about the fact, no one's bothered about a team's being denied a replay unless it's against a big boy. You had yesterday Doncaster winning 2 divisions above at Hull on penalties. That would have gone to a replay, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that would have been money spinning. I didn't hear one argument about that should have gone to a replay. So it's only the end result of the match determines where you're going with this. Now, it's undeniable that the Premier League have been greedy bastards about this, and particularly the teams that are in Europe because they don't want the extra games. Undeniable that lower teams are going to miss out on an income that could perhaps, pay for the rest of their season, secure their future over the next 5-10 years. As a neutral fan myself, I like games being decided on the day. I like the FA Cup final being decided on the day. I remember the replays back in the 80s and 90s. I prefer it on the day. World Cup final, I prefer it on the day. Everything I prefer on the day. Obviously, again, you talk about travelling fans. Replays. So you might say, there are people that will say that they want replays. And on the other hand, they say they feel for all the fans that have to do the extra travelling and out of pocket. So you can't have one or the other. You've got to be pretty consistent in this. Like I said, I'm 50-50 because replays could secure a club's future. And I'm all for non-league, like you say. But as a neutral fan, I prefer games being settled on the day.
Yeah, I get that. And I think, like I say, for me, I think it bothers me because this is just pander to a very few teams. And 54 years, I think the FA Cup replays were in place before they decided to knock them on the head. So, and I think, yeah, it's you're right what you're saying. I don't think Tamworth have had any gripes or anything like that. I don't think I think it's just the general consensus about how it was done and why it's done. I think that's what's got people's goat is the whole pandering to these six sides when even considering outside the Premier League there are 72 clubs. Forget the hundreds, thousands that sorry, I don't know how many it is off the top of my head, but it's thousands of non-league clubs that start the FA Cup. I think that's what's got people's goat up more than, and so then every time there's an example of this cup, I mean, there's half a dozen non-league clubs could have had replays, and there's a couple that won in extra time. Kettering being one example. Sorry, Tom. But there you are.
Yes,
You know, that's
thank
an example of
you.
them but winning in extra time. You know, but had that even gone back to Kettering again, the revenue increase would have been there again. Sorry.
Yeah. If obviously in Kelly's day, it could be 2, 3, 4 replays. No one moaned about the replays being trimmed down to just one match. And don't forget as well, yesterday, if Tamworth would have won, no one would have said, "Oh, that should have gone to a replay after 90 minutes." Not one person would have
I
said
don't
it.
know. Some Tottenham fans might have done.
Oh, yeah. So do you get where I'm coming from? It's a very emotional argument in some ways. But
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it as an overall picture. That's why I'm 50-50. I'm neither here nor
No.
there.
It's good to have that opinion. Let me just sort myself out a bit. Yeah, I do. Yeah, no, definitely. The other side is, and this is where I'm going to chuck a couple of options. See what you think. So the other side of this is obviously when a game moves into extra time, when you've got a professional club, let's say Championship, Premier League club, moves into extra time against a non-league club of part-timers, the balance of fairness tips so heavily because of fitness. And and depth of squad, as Nigel pointed out, bringing on the big boys for that period.
I mean, most of the games, all the big boys. The names that were sitting on the bench, it was just like a get out of jail free card, wasn't it?
I mean, really, Tottenham should have wrapped it up in 90 minutes on paper. You know, like you say, very disappointing performance from them. You know,
I think Kelly was spot on. What you said, if Spurs knew that was going to a replay, the big boys would have come on before because they don't want a replay. I think Kelly was 100% right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was thinking, what better options could they have done to make it a bit more fairer? So one of the options that I've heard bounded about is it goes straight to penalties, no extra time. What's your thoughts on that option, Nigel?
I don't know. I think you've got to go to extra time, haven't you? It cut the game down a bit if it went straight to penalties, but there's all question marks again. If the big boys know it's going to go straight to penalties again, they've got all that talent sitting on the bench. Half time comes, they're going to make changes, aren't they? So I think for the non-league sides, they're up against it, whatever rules come in.
Oh, of course they are. For the non-league clubs, this isn't. They know they're not going to Wembley. They for the clubs, it's about having a money spinner, and for the fans, it's about having a day out, isn't it?
I think every game past the third round in the FA Cup that a non-league side gets is a cup final.
Oh, it is.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even at the very last stages of the preliminary rounds,
yeah,
it's a cup final.
yeah, from the
Just
third
to get
round
into the
onwards,
first
it's a
round
cup final.
proper is a cup final for every non-league club.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that, Darren?
Yeah, definitely.
It is. I mean, I've felt the passion this season from non-league clubs.
Yeah.
Just to get to the first round proper, it's really good to see. I mean, now it's going to.
Well, you remember in the 90s, well, my team, Queen's Park Rangers, we got a draw away to Aylesbury United. This was when we were in the Premier League, but it got switched to Loftus Road. I've got a funny feeling Arsenal, it might be someone like Fareham or Farnborough, Liverpool, Havant and Waterlooville. I think games were switched, and suddenly people were questioning the magic and the beauty of the FA Cup because it was initially a non-league ground, but they obviously want to profit to play at a bigger stadium. And I remember even back then, people were like, "Well, what's the magic of the FA Cup? It's gone. If it's suddenly going to like Highbury as it was at the time."
yeah.
You could. I know what you're on about. I remember the few games getting switched.
Yeah,
I guess if you put it to a fan of a non-league club, would you rather it be at your home ground, or would you rather play at the Tottenham Stadium, for instance, or Anfield, or I guess they'd go, "Oh no, I want to go to Anfield."
I think the big thing with non-league grounds is like that's a bit of an advantage for the non-league side to bring them, but obviously the money side of it's taken over because let's go and play at the professional ground and earn some money because we're not that bothered about going. The money's more important than getting through to the next round.
And in all fairness, I think that's why you see and why there is an issue about replay, because when a big boys club goes to a non-league club and plays there is a slight leveling of the field in terms of, if it's a bobbly grass pitch, we know that has an effect. The 3G pitches, I mean, look, I'm a grass man, but I have to say that Saturday's FA Vase game that we attended wouldn't have been on, and that would have been a financial catastrophe for that little club. They had huge. They'd sold out. They must have sold out. It was rammed. The costs for that to be postponed would have destroyed the profit that they've made from that. Help the club. So the 3G pitches, I'm sort of beginning to take a liking to, because I can see them being a lifeline for many clubs. The costs of postponements hurts them, whereas when you got 3G pitch, you don't. And they are a lot better than what the old AstroTurfs were. But my question on this one then, obviously, Tamworth was a 3G pitch. Visually, I didn't like it. I have to be honest. It was shiny. I just didn't like on the telly. Didn't like it. I didn't like watching the game on whether that was. Do you know what I'm on about? Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Right, did it? And that put me off a bit. But do you think, and this is serious question, do you think that the Premiership sides actually get an advantage from playing on a surface that is like a carpet as opposed to a bobbly, uneven grass pitch?
Yeah, definitely. That's what they're used to playing on every week, isn't it? So a flat pitch is going to suit them. Back in my days when teams used to come to the baseball ground, 80% of it was dirt. So
on the beach.
Again, we're used to playing on that ground, so it was an advantage for us. I don't think a flat pitch like the 3G one at Tamworth probably would have done them any favours against a good team.
No, I don't. They can still play. I mean, they might not be used to surface, but these pitches are in such an improved state now that they look like grass, to be honest. But I just didn't like the visual on the telly. I really didn't. All right, let's move off that subject. Let's go on to this subject now. This is controversial. And so the subject of the fact that FA Cup games are now being played over a 5-day period, Thursday night, we see a dreadful attendance of 6,000 at Sheffield United. The Watford Fulham game weren't that well attended. Then, you know, I think one of it was Sheffield 7 o'clock kickoff. 150 Cardiff fans turned up. You know, if that had been a Saturday afternoon, it would have been 20,000. You know what I mean? But I think there was a lot of boycotting going on, and a few other grounds. I think Sunderland was another one. Sunderland Stoke, dreadful. I think only 15,000. They normally get 40,000 at home. So this has been, and this is the controversial bit. This has happened because they're selling, the FA are selling the TV rights to various parts of the world, not here. So these games are being changed not for the benefit of anyone in this country. They're being changed for the benefit of people in Venezuela and wherever else. What are your thoughts? Let's Tom, you've been quiet. Come on.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
You can't help but be quiet when I'm gabbling away.
Well, it's only the second time you come to me. It's the second time I spoke. But yeah, it's a difficult one again. I think personally, look, it depends what you class yourself as, whether you class yourself as a fan or a consumer. If you're a fan, then you're furious because you like to go to the games and you like the travel to be convenient. If you class yourself as a consumer or a casual fan or whatever, then you're happy because you've got football on the telly for 5 days straight. So I can see the benefit of both sides, and I can see the benefit of the two different types of fan. For me personally, I think it's a complete and utter mockery, isn't it? It goes against everything when you look at it from the perspective of tradition. And when you do get to the latter stages, well, the third round onwards, the magic is still there. There were some upsets, as we touched on at the start of the show, but at the same time, there are a lot of injustices, and I think that's another reason to reference a point that Darren made. Obviously, about there not being any uproar. If Tamworth had have won, for example, they wouldn't be calling for a replay then, which is an absolutely fair point. But I think the uproar is only there when it's against the non-league club or the lower league club, because fans and proper fans, as I reference, are sick of seeing injustices against teams from lower down the pyramid in favour of those sitting at the top of it.
Yeah. It's like I was saying, it's more about, I think it's got their goat up because of the constant injustices that you see. Yeah, absolutely. Nigel, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, listen, we've said it every week. It's turned into a money game. Football. It's not a sport. It's an investment these days, and sort of fans can't afford to go out in the middle of the week and maybe have to miss work in the morning or something like that. It's just inconveniencing the normal fan, and it's all about the money. Like, there's no need to be playing FA Cup games on a Thursday. It was always on a Saturday. Saturday was the FA Cup weekend, and I'm not going to say too much because I've already said it. It's everything about football at the moment is just money. Yeah, nothing else.
No, it's just very true. Darren.
Well, I couldn't have put it any better than what Tom said, so I'll keep it short. But obviously, exposure as well. In the second round, Harbour Town played away at Reading, didn't they? It was on a Sunday at 2:00, and that was streamed overseas. So there's plenty of, before this cup run, plenty of English people wouldn't have heard of Harbour Town, but they've got their name out worldwide now, I suppose, due to the streaming. But all said and done, I'm a traditionalist, and like Kelly, I want it squeezed to like over a day or two, no more. Not even Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't even like that, let alone added on a Thursday. So, also, just one other point. When I was watching, is it a wonder that the FA Cup is a feeling as it is? Because when they now broadcast the draw on the TV, it's all jokey in the studio. It's all fun and games. It's all like, it's a bit laissez-faire about it. Let's just have a little laugh and let's pull the numbers out. Let's make sure we got them out the bag. Ha ha ha. Back in the day when it was at Lancaster Gate, it was very serious, maybe a bit stuffy, but the way they created it, you knew it was important. Nowadays, it's all a bit sort of like jokey TV. It loses a bit of importance.
Mr. Keown looked like he had the raving hump, didn't he?
He's like that all the time.
Oh, mate, didn't he look unhappy? But yeah. Okay, we'll move along again. And this time, the FA Cup has really thrown some stuff up this time. VAR. So one thing the FA, I think, should be commended is saying no VAR in the FA Cup. And all I've heard today is what wonderful games, the Arsenal Man United game. It was so much better. It felt different because when the ball hit the back of the net, you knew it was a goal. So they've done this, and it seems to have turned people back to wanting the tradition, but it ain't going to happen. But what are your thoughts on the fact that they've not done the VAR at all in this competition? Do you think it's a good thing? It's the right thing because only the 20 clubs in the Premier League use VAR. It's the right thing in my view. But do you think it's brought people back to the question of do we want VAR? Nigel?
Yeah, for me, like it was just refreshing to watch a match that the referee was controlling and the linesman, not a bloody TV with pixels on it. So yeah, I'm all for. I've always said all I wanted VAR to come in for was whether the ball's over the line, whether it's a penalty or not. Major decisions. But when it comes down to pixels, whether you're offside and your toenails in front of the other one. Yeah, so for me, I loved it. I'd be
it's all we've heard. I mean, people like Troy Deeney coming out, who was, I think, doing his punditry on the game at the Emirates, was saying he thoroughly enjoyed it without the ref, with the ref making the decisions. And I think the general consensus I was feeling on the radio today was that maybe the refs were reffing in a different way because they have to make the decision. Like they don't have to make a decision with VAR, so they
it would be interesting to know what the referees thought of it. How many of them wouldn't it be? Yeah, would like it to go back to them making decisions without the VAR. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be really interesting. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Well, you're testing me today, guys. I'll tell you that, mate, because it's another difficult one, isn't it? Really, there's no right or wrong answer, whatever way you look at it. My personal opinion, the games that I watched over the weekend, I thoroughly enjoyed. As Nigel said, that the ball hits the back of the net and it's a goal, unless you look to your right or left and the flag's up, of course. But again, that's an on-field decision. I think the challenge that you're going to have, certainly for the people that don't want VAR in football, I personally think football does need VAR. But what football also needs is a system that works efficiently and effectively, where there are a clear set of rules that are abided by each and every time. I'm actually going to contradict myself a little bit now because I don't like the offsides with it. As Nigel said, obviously about your toenail being offside, that for me should go back to obviously whether the attacking player is gaining an advantage or not. But then that becomes subjective. So there are two contradicting points from me sat here now. So I don't think there's any clear right or wrong. But with VAR not being there over the weekend, it was absolutely the correct call. Because if you put it in for some and then you don't put it in for others, it's not a level playing field. And yeah, the referees, there were wrong decisions. There were some decisions there, but they still get wrong with VAR. So there's no clear, do I want it or do I don't? But yeah, to summarise, did I enjoy the weekend without VAR? Absolutely. But do I think it needs to be there? Yes.
Which seems to be the general consensus all round, But like you say, there is a place for technology, but in maybe what format, I guess. I think that we'll come to Darren about it, but for me, going to Premier League games as I did a few years back on a regular basis and see some of the dreadful decisions that was coming out. And I think I always say this when we were at the new Tottenham Stadium, and it was you had a decision come up to say no goal, so the Tottenham fans cheered. It was a Watford goal. Then 2 minutes, then literally 30 seconds later, it came up, no goal allowed. So the Watford fans cheered. And then it came up, no, we've decided it's now disallowed. Oh, it was a fiasco.
That was the beauty of it all before VAR, though. You know, the referees did make some bad decisions, but
Yeah.
bloody hell, all them lads that went into the pub afterwards, they had something to debate, and they'd all have their opinions of it.
Can you imagine what our discussions would be like on here? You'd be talking forever because of the poor decisions. But yeah, for me, as a fan in a Premier League environment, I found it was getting to the point where, for me, the biggest thing about the buzz of football is that euphoria when the ball hits the back of the net. And I think VAR, the way it's done, is taking that away slowly. It hits the back of the net and it's like, deep breath, let's see what happens with VAR, you know? So for me, it takes away one of the most precious elements in a game of football. Darren, your thoughts?
Well, with or without VAR, there's always going to be moaning.
Oh, absolutely.
There's always going to be mistakes.
Football, would it?
I'm in the camp. I don't like VAR. I like mistakes. I accept mistakes in life, in football, and everything like that. And I agree with the spontaneity, Gaz, and what Tom was saying about when the ball hits the back of the net, you only got it one way or another. Obviously, it's here to stay. Again, it's a level playing field that it was not in any of the rounds, so that's really good. I could talk and bore the arse off you for the next 10 minutes about why I don't like VAR, but I would rather have honest mistakes and just let it be a good experience for the fans, as opposed to trying to watch the perfect game of football with the perfect results, but it ended up being a 120-minute game or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think we've done our bit on the FA Cup, really. Just really to say, any outstanding ties you see in the fifth round? Any thoughts from you guys?
Just a Villa match, isn't it? Villa match looks like the biggest one out there.
Villa Tottenham.
I'll tell you what, before we move on to the next one, I think a lot of it was about Tamworth on here, but I watched the Leeds Harrogate game, and I'll tell you what, Harrogate played really well against Leeds.
Yeah.
So I think we should give them a mention. Like it's
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the problem is the Tamworth game's the one that's reared all the talking points up, really. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, Harrogate it was 1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a good game of football from both sides. Like it wasn't an easy ride for Leeds.
I mean, there was some outstanding results. I mean, if you consider them, you had obviously Plymouth getting that result at Brentford was a big result, wasn't it? New manager, is it the new manager effect? And they've now got Liverpool at home. Great draw for them. What a great draw. I think we all thought West Brom was going to have an upset when they went 1-0 up. Only to lose 5-1. But I'm just having a look through now. I mean,
I'll tell you a good one that I did watch, a really good one, was Exeter. Oxford United. Yeah, they were fantastic. Yeah, they were fantastic.
And that's an upset. Brilliant. That's the league.
Yeah, they're a league above, aren't they? Oxford nowadays. Yeah.
Championship. Absolutely.
That was an old school game of football as well. That one. That was a really good old school game. Whipped crosses, big striker on the end of it. I think Exeter had a lad down the middle who scored twice. Both balls into the box, early crosses, and good tidy finishes. His movement was on another level. That fella, to be fair, I can't remember the chap's name now. His movement and finishing was on another level. You don't need to look at the big games and the big boys to see quality football.
I think they said that Exeter, it's the first time they got to the fourth round since the year that Watford got to the cup final.
We're going back some now. Were you still playing then, Gally?
No, Watford were in the 2017 cup final.
Oh, yeah, that's
the 84 one. The 84 one.
Yeah.
What was the score of that 2017 cup final? Just out of interest, I can't remember.
No, it's all right. Anyway, moving along.
You want to reference Ketchen? I'll reference that.
Millwall 0-0 with Dagenham. 12 minutes into the game, or 14 minutes now into the game. Just to let you know, obviously when you see this, you'll know the result. But just to say, obviously, this is a recorded podcast, and there are a number of FA Cup games still to be played when whilst doing this show. Obviously, Leighton Orient have got to play one of your old clubs there, Derby, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Be an interesting one. And they've got a plum trip. They're Man City, aren't they? Whoever gets them. Mansfield have got Wigan and Preston North End at Charlton. Outstanding for me. Exeter got a plum. You talk about Exeter, they got a great draw against Nottingham Forest, who are flying. Leeds against Millwall or Dagenham. The police won't like that one. And I think there was Doncaster Rovers got Dan's Crystal Palace. Obviously, a great side Plymouth we've just mentioned. You're right, Villa. Oh, Brighton Chelsea. That looks like a tough fixture. Brighton tend to turn Chelsea over, don't they? Right, let's move on. So I was at a game Saturday. You was at a game Saturday. Just quickly mention your game, and obviously, if you want to know more about Darren's game, tell them where to look.
It's just I wasn't expecting to get to a game. In fact, I only arranged it Saturday morning, and at a Southern League First Division Central match between Beaconsfield Town and Leighton Town. Now, it was really weird leaving Buckingham to Fog, and on the I don't know if you're aware of the area, M40 Fog. Literally, as soon as I got up the hill at Stokenchurch, suddenly, brilliant sunshine. It was like another world. It was weird, but
as you go through the Vicar Dibley cut, as I call it.
Yeah. The Stokenchurch,
because that's where they filmed that Vicar Dibley shot, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Vicar Dibley.
It was an average first half. It was a really good second half from Leighton Town. A lovely facility, really, Beaconsfield, but hardly anyone there, mate, which is a real shame. They came down.
Yeah, I've watched game. I have to say that terrace behind the goal looks cracking.
Yeah.
Proper old-fashioned bit of terracing that.
Shame not many people were there, though, mate.
No, it didn't look like there was. Nice ground, though, isn't it?
It was lovely, Holloway's Park.
Absolutely great. So I was at. There ain't a lot to say about the FA Vase. Not many games went on. The FA Vase. For those of you who don't know what the FA Vase is, there may be some out there. The FA Vase is the equivalent of the FA Trophy, which is the non-league FA Cup. The FA Vase is played by step 6 and 5 teams, whereas the trophy is 4 up to 1. So we attended Sutton United of the West Midlands, not the Sutton United down south, and we attended their game. And I was hoping to get it done tonight. If not, it'd be up tomorrow. The article that we've done on it. Oh, mate, what can I say? I mean, this is Sutton United versus Bourne Town. It was so Sutton United step 6 in the Midlands Division 1, and for the life of me, I can't remember now what league Bourne are in now. But they're flying Bourne in their league anyway. They'll move up. They'll get promoted this year. Anyway, so this for both clubs, they've never reached further than this round. Sutton United, it was actually the first time they've ever played in the FA Vase. So for them to get to the 4th round is a huge achievement. And they sold out. I mean, there's no ifs or buts. The ground, lovely little ground. The facilities are amazing. Wonderful story behind the club in that it was formed by veterans just after the war and all that, which we'll have in our article. The facility is amazing. I don't know what the capacity is. I think it's 1,500. And to me, I don't think you could have got anyone else in. It was rammed. But it was a good facility, and they'd managed it very, very well. And I have to big shout out to the Bourne supporters, 200 Bourne supporters there, and it had everything: flares, great goals. I mean, great goals. It was 4-2. What a game! First half was fantastic, 2-2, and then Bourne were ended up the stronger side. I just can't say enough what an advert it was for grassroots football. And they run 50 teams. The youth were there, the adults were there. The whole community got out behind that side that day, and it was like watching an FA Cup game. Really, it was rammed. It was just amazing. But look out for the article on that. So unfortunately, I think Tom, we had a discussion earlier where there's no coverage whatsoever of the FA Vase, and you have to really battle to find anything. Darren
Yeah.
Newport Pagnell had a brilliant success, two on the trot, didn't they?
Yeah, they won one, lost one. Yeah.
But that's the FA Vase, right, gentlemen. So I've got no more. I'd like to go around the table, see if you want to bring anything else up, and then we'll call it a day after that. So let's start with Darren. Darren, anything else you'd like to bring up?
Not really. It's just because I champion non-league, and as we're recording this, Dagenham and Redbridge are still in the cup. The only non-league survivors. Like you said, a tasty looking tie at Leeds if they can overcome Millwall tonight, or Monday night if you're watching this on Wednesday.
We've got to get used to this, people. This is the first one we've done, so Nige, anything you'd like to bring up or say? Or
No, I think we've more or less covered everything from the weekend. You just need to edit out my swearing at the start of this. But it's been all right tonight. Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, obviously the format, we want to be a bit more laid back, actually. It's been a bit sort of, but the idea is that we chill, relax, and
I'll tell you what, though, it's as far as fourth rounds of the FA Cup go, I think this has been one of the best fourth rounds for a long time. Just for the actual clashes of the big ones against the minnows and local derbies and stuff like that. So I've really enjoyed it this weekend.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. I think there's an appetite amongst the fans for the FA Cup. I really do. There's a huge appetite for it. Even at the top level, just because the clubs are the way they are, don't mean the fans are. And the fans love it. I'll tell you now, them Tottenham fans that went to Tamworth loved every minute of that day out. Every minute of it. Going to a ground like that, in terracing, I bet they loved it. And that's the beauty of it, is and I think there's an appetite. I think the FA Cup could make a revival if the FA would just leave it alone. Don't change anymore. They've changed enough about it, and not this stupid 5-day thing on the head and all. Anyway, Tom.
Yeah, nothing major to go over. As Callie said, I think we covered the bulk of it. Just a couple of points. One that you made there about the coverage of the FA Vase. Obviously, we had a chat earlier, and I said I didn't really know a great deal about it prior, but I had to dig really, really deep, and it was all in vain anyway because all the games were called off. But it opened my eyes a little bit, and it just sort of showed me a little bit. Why am I having to work so hard to go and find this content? I know it's driven based on the interest. I know it's driven based on what it brings to the table in terms of the financials, but what it brings to the table in terms of an entertainment value is on par with anything that you look at in elite sport. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at it from a purely financial perspective, or are we looking at it from an entertainment perspective? As a fan, I want to see entertainment. I want to see good football. Doesn't matter who plays in it. I don't care who plays. It could be anybody from the top level and somebody from lower down. It doesn't matter as long as it's a good, honest game of football, which we are seeing less and less now.
I got that Saturday. Greg will back me up. What a game! The standard was good. I wasn't sure
I don't doubt
what to expect, but the goals were cracking. And it was, and to be fair, the 3G pitch didn't take nothing away from it. Actually, probably added to it, helped it be a bit rather than probably. But it was a great thing. But I tell you, most importantly, Tom, about the FA Vase is the FA Vase is definitely the most grassroots competition you're going to find in men's football. Right? There's no ifs or
Yeah.
buts. It's 5 and 6 steps, you know, and but it just the community that club is looking after. 50 teams they're running. That's girls, boys, men's and women's football. 50 teams run by, and that for me is what the hierarchy in football are missing. They're not really, they're not getting it. I don't think they are. You know, it's not just about money. It's about what a club at many levels can bring. As did the bigger clubs back in the day. I don't think they bring it so much now. If they do community stuff, it's box ticking. That's all they're doing. They're ticking the box. Yeah, we look at the community. I'm sorry. There are probably 1 or 2 clubs out there who could probably disagree with me on that, and that's fair enough. But
Guys, I've
yeah.
got to go. Sorry, but I've got to go.
No, all right, go on, mate. Go on.
The dog's going mad downstairs.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Cheers. See you later, guys.
Go on,
Yeah, Callie,
see you
take care,
later.
mate.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up. I say it's a bit weird now, people, because this is new for us. And we normally say, yeah, we'll see you next. We don't know when we're going to see you next, actually. I haven't decided when we're going to do a live one. But
We'll see you again.
I hope,
That's what we're saying now.
I hope, yeah, we're going to do
see
a
you
lot
again.
more of these with different formats, non-league focus one. We're going to do some under the floodlights, or do some interviews. And I think we just got to make this more of like we're all around the pub table. And I think that's what people want to see. So hopefully we can master it a little bit better moving forward. But today was all about the FA Cup, really, and a little bit about the FA Vase. But anyway, we hope you've enjoyed it. Guys, thanks a lot. And I'll be in touch about the next. Well, you can hang on a minute and let me just... As even with a live show, I'm never ready. Never ready. Right. Yeah.